musician and what people know about me and the things I've been involved with. I've been several times in my life I've been contacted by what I would call middlemen. So not the people directly, but people who would work for them to do certain things in exchange for, well, each time they would say, we will help you have this, we will help you have that. So for example, when I got out of prison, I was looking to change my ID papers. I have a new identity because it was kind of hard, as you can imagine, to find work with my name. So I was looking to change names, and there's a process you have to go through the Ministry of Justice in France, and you have to do this. At the time I was going to those fetish parties, they're called. So this is usually in nightclubs, and it's part of the S&M scene. At the times I would go to those places, and I was approached by a person one night who said that he knew about me and he knew someone who could help me go through the process of changing my name much faster. But it came with certain requirements. So I'm asking what, and he said, yeah, you would have to find stuff for them. And when I asked him, well, what are we talking about? He said, it's people in very high places. And I told him, yeah, there's no way somebody in a very high place would risk having any kind of interaction with me. And he told me, this is why they're sending me. So you don't have any direct contact with them, etc. And asked me what I knew about the Brotherhood. This is what the name I'm going to use for that organization, because this organization is extremely well known, and I'm sure that a few people who are watching this show are part of this organization. They will probably understand what I'm talking about by me using certain words. It's a very well-known, established occult organization whose aim is to help humanity move forward, and they use words such as progress. They are working for the progress of humanity, let's say, and they are building a temple, the Temple of Solomon. That's the thing. That's when you're an initiate, you just know that it's more or less like a giant network that will help you get through life and get higher positions wherever you work. If you work in government, you get a higher position if you're part of that organization, this Brotherhood. But what they don't know is what the Brotherhood is truly about, and what some high-ranking members are truly about. I'm not saying that everybody in that organization, in that Brotherhood, are doing the things that I know that they are doing, but some of them are, and they use their influence, their political influence, their influence in the high echelons of society to get what they want. And they're obsessed with two things, power and use. And let's say that they use certain rituals to increase their power and to become, more kind of access immortality in a way, but not immortality as we know it, more like spiritual immortality. So they have those rich like me and ask them if they can get certain stuff for them. In my case, it was human remains. So this person, who was acting as a middleman, asked me if I could provide him human remains for the rituals. They use human remains, skulls, mostly skulls, bones, okay? They will not go to the graveyards to get them, alright? They will send other people to do their biddings for them. Since they're people in power, they also will pass laws to prevent, for example, the possession of human remains. So they get the exclusivity, if you will, of having access to those things. There's a lot of doctors, people who work in the health industry, and surgeons, etc., who are part of this brotherhood. So it's easier for them to help them have access to specimens, medical specimens, but sometimes they want specific remains from specific graveyards for their rituals. I do not know the details of those rituals. All I know is that they want, for example, the skull of an or something really unusual, something that they wouldn't have in any other way. So I had heard stories from other convicts when I was in prison about those guys and how they approach you to do their biddings. Plus, I knew stories of actual serial killers and people who were involved in cases involving torture that were working for people like that. Different people in prison, people I knew who were part of satanic cults, who were approached to. I've lived in several countries in Europe. I've lived in Sweden, I've lived in the UK, I've lived in many different places, and I've met a lot of different people from the satanic underground. There's always rumors. You have to understand that there's those small organized satanic cults, no more than 10 people perhaps, who are doing their stuff on their own. And there's those, Luciferian cults who pretend to act as legit organizations. So they infiltrate groups like the Brotherhood, and they use the power that they have through those organizations to commission murders, commission crimes. There was also a similar case in Italy with the Monster of Florence. The Monster of Florence, they arrested a guy for this series of murders in Florence, in Tuscany, and it was 6 couples each time. The women systemically were mutilated, their sexual organs were mutilated. Somebody who was really close to the main suspect, who was arrested, was mysteriously found in a river, dead, during the investigation, and he was high-ranking member of the Brotherhood. So each time you have cases like that, of course there's serial killers most serial killers, they act on their own, they're not part of anything, they just have those impulses and they act upon those impulses. But sometimes the murders are linked to something else. And this is my experience, talking to people, being approached by those people.
Quando guardiamo un singolo crimine vediamo un fatto, quando li guardiamo insieme vediamo una struttura. È lì che nasce la sottotrama invisibile.
Di notte, occhio ai posti isolati.
Questo percorso di indagini scava in profondità per ricostruire una visione globale di fatti che, pur lontani tra loro, mostrano una matrice comune e meccanismi ricorrenti di potere.